Well, obviously, so much of the presidency of Bush was consumed with what's been going on, what was happening in the Middle East, and as it still continues. Tell me what you think now about what is going to happen with Syria, because we now know we're in the middle of a very tense and escalating situation there, with the news just yesterday that there may well be chemical weapons in Syria.
Well, it's a very dangerous situation in Syria, and I'm afraid that we've waited very late to intervene. And I don't mean intervene militarily. I do mean to intervene in terms of helping the opposition come together and perhaps arming the opposition. And so when a civil war, which is what you have in Syria, goes on for a long time, it empowers the worst elements. And so what was once an opposition that was dominated by more tolerant, more liberal forces, now has a an element of Al-Qaeda, of very radical Sunni forces. And remember that Syria is made up of Sunni, Shia, Kurds, Alawites, who are a minority Shia sect, Christians. And what all of those people fear is that when Assad goes, and he will go because his regime is falling apart, when Assad goes, that there will be warring among these various factions, and that particularly people, the religious minorities, women, others, will be at risk. And so we very quickly now have to help the opposition to create a post-Assad framework that would be inclusive of all of the Syrians. And we have to help them get rid of Assad quickly, because the longer this goes on, the longer the chaos goes on, the more radical elements will be empowered.
But what can that intervention look like? Because there is such a fear, and indeed, the United States doesn't have the budget anymore to go to war.
or the will.
The will or the budget. What can be done then in terms of diplomacy, and is there a role for other nations to play? Is there a role for Brazil to play?
Well, the regional powers, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, the Gulf states, Jordan, France, Britain, have all recognized the opposition. So the United States should first recognize the opposition. That's the first step, and say that is the legitimate government now going forward. Then secondly, you probably have to arm those people to fight Assad with defensive weapons. And then third, you have to try to bring the international community, and this is where Brazil, I think, has a role as a major power, to understand that Assad can't continue to butcher his people this way. When he begins to roll out, look as if he's preparing chemical weapons, things have gone really bad in Syria. I still think there is room for a diplomatic outcome, but that room is narrowing very quickly. The time is running out, and the key is to empower the opposition to really be in a position when Assad falls to come to power in a way that is stabilizing for Syria.